Hello again, and good day to you. Hopefully you are doing well out there, and it will be a fantastic day wherever you are. Today's footage is gonna be kind of boring. It's a lot of gluing carpet to wood. I actually was able to get quite a bit of footage with the GoPros, and because I had so much footage at 10x, it was still going to be almost an hour long. And I thought, that's probably a little bit too long. So this is then sped up again at 2x. So this will be at technically at 20x for speed. For the first two boxes here, it's the same as the other two. It's just the full range. So I started with this one, measuring out the face carpet, and then figuring out where I want things to be for the outside of the carpet, and then just starting with marking it with a little bit of the glue and then working my way across. And it's pretty much pretty straightforward. So at this point, as of today, we have got all of the full range speakers completely done and tested. We've actually got the subs pretty much done. They're actually assembled and tested so that I could make sure that the sounds, the amplifier side of things worked. We're actually not using a mixer, which has some benefits and drawbacks. The benefit is that it allows simpler setup. It allows other pieces of equipment that are already there to function as that. We were able to actually use, I've got a set of wireless karaoke microphones, and we were able to use that to plug into the microphone input on the Newmark mix track, the music controller. And that's actually, that has turned out to be a frustration. We'll put it that way. But it works as far as what we needed. So we have 4 wireless microphones that we can use with the system. We tested it all here, just in the spare room, and didn't have any problems with any of it. And as is occasionally a frustrating challenge, we set it up and tested things out at the church we're setting up and providing the sound for our annual talent show, and we figured we'd use this as an excuse to set the backdrop up as well, and that actually looks quite good. We're very, very happy with the way that turned out. So it'll be perfect for the wedding. And luckily, my daughter, we sent her some pictures of it, and she agreed that she thinks it looks amazing. So there's, over the years, it'll probably evolve and we can make some changes, but for now it's definitely exactly what we need. But anyway, so at the church, for some reason, the Newmark, the mix track controller, is creating a 60 hertz hum when the microphone volume is turned up. Um, it's not a problem as long as there's a little bit of background noise, but at some point adding the third octave graphic EQ is definitely going to be something we want to add to that system. It's a weird, I don't know, it's such a weird, strange thing. But oh well. Anyway, yeah. So we did get everything set up. We've currently got all of the battery-powered lights charging, and we've definitely come to the conclusion that that is for sure the way to go. They're a bigger cost up front, but the amount of capability that they provide is just amazing. While we were setting everything up, we got all 12 of the uplights that we have and all 8 of the freedom sticks set up in, like 5 minutes, less maybe. And to do 20 lights with cords is like almost an hour's worth of work. It's kind of crazy. So I'm actually gonna go, hopefully get over there. Tonight's the talent show. I'm gonna hopefully get over there early and play with things a little bit, because we do have 6, technically 9 more lights that I can set up. They're just all corded lights, and I do want to try and figure some of them out. We discovered that the setup took us about 4 hours yesterday, and part of that was because we hadn't done some of it before, and so we were trying to figure things out. Like there's some scrims for the speaker stands that look great, especially when you put a light behind them or under them. They're quite amazing, but they're kind of they're frustrating to put on. we'll just put it that way. So we got to figure out a faster way of doing that. The backdrop surprisingly took an awesomely fast amount of time. That was amazingly simple and easy. The only issue we have with that backdrop is that because we're using lighting trees for the stand structure, it's a little bit awkward, just because the tripod legs have to stick out. So we'll work with a little bit to see if we can adjust them, to bring them in a little bit, since we don't have a whole lot of weight. Like, we don't have lights sitting up on the top of the tree, so they're designed to be 12 feet tall and have like 150 pounds of weight up there, which we don't have. So we're only setting them up like 8.5, 9 feet tall. That way there's a little bit bunched at the bottom to help keep them from swaying and whatnot, for the fabric. But we're also not putting really any weight. I mean, across 4 of them there's like maybe 15 pounds worth of pipe and fabric, so we don't necessarily have to have them splayed all the way out. We'll play with that for the wedding to see if we can trim them up. But we ended up using only a portion of them and having it about 20 feet wide instead of the full 30 feet that we could have used, and it looks pretty good. I'll have to put a picture at the end of this video just for easy reference. But I discovered here that I was running out of contact cement and had to go into the store real quick to grab another gallon, which I'm almost out of that second gallon at this point. So these sub boxes, there's a lot of surface area on them, and as I mentioned in the last video, this next gallon that I got was a lot runnier, and that might have been a part of it. I found a fair amount of time that I had to spend redoing some of it, so I'll have to work on figuring that out when I glue the rest of these equipment boxes, which that's a little bit of a frustration actually. We ordered the extra carpet last week, and it was supposed to be here yesterday, according to when I ordered it, and they didn't ship it until Tuesday. And I got an email today saying, hey, this has been delayed, so now it's not supposed to be here till Monday, which is kind of pushing it. We were supposed to have it here yesterday so we could get everything glued and finished up. Fortunately, having the three-way system, these full range boxes actually sound amazing on their own without the sub. Now, having the sub frequencies amplified by the 15-inch woofers on their own amplifier is just immeasurably better. It sounds so much better, but being what it is, in a small room like we're doing at this church, it's only like a half basketball court, so it's like maybe 50 by 30, something like that. So the 4 full range speakers are plenty powerful enough for this particular room. So they'll do, but at this point we're pushing having things ready in time for the wedding, because I don't really want to have a speaker box that's, that smells like contact cement. That's just not professional, not good, not acceptable. You can see I had to repaint this. That's what I was referring to. I think for this first time I let it dry a little too long, which is kind of surprising because I didn't let it dry very long at all, but you can actually see on the top of the box, what is currently the top of the box, that it's already dried a little bit on the outside. So I came over and tested it this time, and it was still slightly tacky, so that's the perfect time to finish it. And here I was just trying to see if there's like a expiration date, or if there's any kind of instructions, and it did say that you're supposed to shake it, or it said you're supposed to stir it. I don't really care about bubbles, so I went ahead and I just shook it because that was easier than trying to stir. That didn't actually make a difference though, so that's kind of frustrating in and of itself. But I was able to get it to work, and that's what counts. So we'll just continue on and keep on trucking, and it is what it is. I mean, I don't know, it's just a different batch, for whatever reason. Whatever their process is to make it just was slightly different. It's interesting. It would be interesting to be a chemist and, be able to know what those differences are, but oh well. So anyway, yeah, well, it is what it is. We'll just have to keep trucking along and see if we can get it all done. So while I'm working on the painting the glue here, this is an image from the setup. We've got that scrim on the light stand, and we've got the gig bar flex underneath one of the speakers. Well, that turned out to be a nice little setup. They turned out to be kind of awkward scrims, like I mentioned earlier. You have to like partially extend the legs just enough, or far enough that there's something to grab. Then you can put the skirt on, connect it to the bottom of the legs. Then you have to try and extend it all the way out to put pressure on it so it stays in place. Then you can extend the stand all the way up, put your stuff on it, and attach it. It's got like a little leathery kind of a attachment so that it stays up at the top. They look good, and I think they were definitely worth doing the 3-sided instead of the 2-sided, but I don't know. It took a little bit of figuring out how to get them to work, and then trying to run the cords kind of wrapped around the legs. You have to wrap them once the scrim is on. So a 2-sided, or even if it was a 3-sided that like you could close once it's up, like with a Velcro seam or something that could be in the back corner, would have been a better way to design it. I don't know. I've never used the scrims like this before, so it was an interesting experiment to figure out. And then here, alright, here is a image that we took last night of the backdrop. This has a par light behind the two end sections, as well as obviously behind the scrims under the speakers in the corner there. And then it has the 8 freedom sticks behind the center section. With the green lighting, you can't really tell, but going from the outsides, the first section is a purple color, and then the next section is a maroon color, because those are the colors for my daughter's wedding. The drapes across the center section are black fabric, and it looks pretty good in the daylight. We toyed with originally getting a dedicated backdrop stand, and we kicked around quite a few different versions and ideas. We ended up deciding that none of them were going to work very well, because they'd basically be taking up space, a large amount of space in the trailer, with no other benefit, and no customizability. So we toyed with the idea of this as a solution, and the only thing we actually had to do to make this to make it work was, for starters, we had to get the fabric, obviously, and this is a spandex or lycra or something. I'm not sure what the actual material is called, but that was something we were able to just find on Amazon. I would like to find a source to be able to just make them myself, because they're really not hard to make. There's a sleeve at the top and a hem at the bottom, and that's it. So not very complicated. The only thing I don't have the ability to do at the moment is to they used a serger to run a stitching seam down the sides so that there's not a thick seam, which would potentially be a little bit more noticeable. I kind of want some sections of like Velcro or something in between them, actually. Some way to connect them so that they actually, if there's a breeze or somebody walks past one, it doesn't like detach from the next one. That'll be something we'll have to work on and figure out for future stuff, but they worked out pretty well, all things considered. And then we got some regular PVC pipe. I think it was 2-inch pipe, and coincidentally that fits perfectly over the crossbar T-bar arms on the lighting truss. The sleeves for the fabric for the drapes fits perfectly on the 2-inch pipe, so that worked out almost like it was like they were designed that way. So then we set up the tree and put a piece of pipe in between with the fabric hanging on it, and then used, so there's two to create the center section, and then two more on the outside section that are used to be able to create the angle, to bring the ends in and create the little bit of an alcove feel, and we can change that angle however much we want. And that section on this version, the way we set it up last night, was to use a 5-foot piece of pipe instead of a full 10-foot piece. Although we do have the 10-foot piece, but if we did the 10-foot pieces, we would want more fabric, because while the drapes are 5 feet wide, we decided that they don't look good when they're straight. They need the ripples to actually look like curtains. So it's a good thing to have them the way they are. But yeah, that worked out really well. I don't know if the Freedom Sticks will be behind the curtains at the wedding. That just felt like the way that it should be for this talent show tomorrow. But we'll see how things go for that when we start setting up the wedding, and we'll see how things look and feel in that room. They might be somewhere else around the room. I did have the idea that it would be cool to figure out a way to hang them from the light trees, and I don't know if that's feasible, because it would mean I'd have to figure out a way to support more weight. So I don't know, that's something that would be a future endeavor. But it would actually be really cool to have them up higher. And if as using the sparkle, it might even be cool to have them sort of at an angle upward. Oh no, that would be awesome. Sorry, random thoughts, just that's the problem with not having a script. But it would be cool if they were all leaning in from above and sparkling, kind of Starry Night type stuff, but in color. I don't know. That's definitely something I'll have to think more about. Maybe I'll play with trying that out on just lighting trees one of these days. So I don't know, but anyway, you can see the battery light, or the light for the battery for the light is starting to die, and I kept thinking, oh, I don't want to change it. I'm so close. I'm almost done. I ended up obviously having to change it, and that's okay. But this is the second sub, so I am pretty much complete. I mean, as far as I can. So at this point, we still need to build the thrones. We've got Emily's been pretty awesome. She's actually been using a grinder that she's got some grinding carving bits for, and she's been getting practice with her grinding carving skills to remove the bark from the alder logs. And we'll be over the weekend, since we have to wait now till Monday to get the carpet, we'll be focusing on those to get the thrones built, which is kind of a good thing. It'll give me a little bit more time to focus a little bit more on them. But here's the speakers, all carpeted as far as I could, and some of the hardware on. You can see I've got the feet and the sub speakers and grills on, so that they're ready to go and ready to test. I got the everything set up, and we're just waiting for that last bit of carpet. But for this video, that'll be sufficient. We'll call that for today. So as always, thank you for your time and for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed my ramblings, as always. Hopefully you're here more to just hear about the progress and the process than sometimes the footage, because especially with some of this stuff, it's just not that entertaining to sit and watch. But once we get back from the wedding, we will be able to start focusing on some of the land again. We've got to get a fence for our chickens so they quit wandering around and digging up plants and seeds. We've got to get some concrete built or repaired for the smoker and the pizza oven. We've got to get a little bit of dirt work done in our little entertaining area, so that we can have that drain better. We've got a lot of road left to cut out. We've got some new road that we're going to start working on cutting out to come across the back of the neighbor's property, so we can do some stuff over in that area. I think we're going to build a little shooting range berm, so we have a place to do some target practice and sight the firearms in. We've got a house site to dig out, and unfortunately a lot of alders to take down to be able to do that. Most of them will turn into furniture. Some of them might get inoculated to grow some mushrooms. Some of them will become firewood. Some of them might become decoration. Who knows? Most of them they're pretty small. I think the biggest out there is 6 or 7 inches in diameter. So they're only 15 or so years old. But we'll get a bunch of stuff going, and we'll start getting a bit of variety or a land work back into the videos. We'll get come fall, we'll be able to start doing some insulation on the spare room, and there will be some little bits and pieces here and there, and so there'll be a bunch of other stuff. And hopefully we'll have some new dance and parties and weddings and things in the area. There's not a huge demand for that kind of stuff here, but it is there. There is some, so that'll be a good hobby income that we'll be able to do, and we'll see where life takes us, and you'll be able to enjoy the footage and ramblings as we go. So we'll catch you on the next one.